and that grief is a collaborative phenomenon, that you do it in community and you participate in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you bring it up.
Yeah, you talk about it. You acknowledge it. Yeah. Unlike Sydney, who's like been in a relationship with Carmi this many years, and the two of them have never discussed that Sydney's mom is dead. Died of lupus when she was 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and the only time it's going to come up is when there is some potential chaos coming on the way, i.e. Sugar and Carmi's mom, Donna is on her way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bring it up, you talk about it.
So in this series, we're examining the attachment themes strewn throughout the FX Hulu show, The Bear. We will be discussing in detail each episode as the story unfolds, so that you can watch or rewatch before you listen and then follow along with our discussion. We have seen all the episodes, but we won't discuss any content beyond the episodes we're discussing. So if you haven't seen the show, press pause now, go watch, and hop back on to the podcast.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael. I'm super low energy.
So happy you're here.
This has become one of my favorite drinks of all time.
Yeah.
And that's because of you and your wife.
This is Tiffany's signature.
Yeah.
Her go-to.
I've only recently given myself permission to drink champagne in the evening.
As opposed to, because like in mimosas and...
For brunch, yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you used to only allow yourself to have champagne for those occasions.
Yeah, or I just thought that's the only time that you would
brunch.
Actually drink it.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you have fancified.
I have diversified.
And you're allowing yourself the little evening sparkle.
Yeah, I had some the other night. It was lovely. It was a really lovely way to end the evening.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Okay.
French 75.
French 75.
Recipe
Sure.
in the notes.
It'll be somewhere.
Is that what you call it?
Do
you call a drink recipe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A drink recipe. I don't know what else you'd call it. Oh, yeah. But this one, it's a simple drink. It's lemon, simple syrup, gin, topped with champagne.
Or whatever sparkling wine you have.
Yes, we did a brut tonight.
So we are in, it's a lovely episode.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2, episode 9.
7. Right?
I think it's because we only have one more.
Yeah.
I think there's 10.
Okay.
In this season.
We should know this. That's fine. We just watch it and comment.
We're just here to look pretty.
Nailed it. So, but we have, we're on this episode,
which is titled Omelette.
Yeah.
So lovely.
How do you make your omelets? Do you make omelets?
Yeah, I do, but I probably make something that's more akin technically to
a quiche.
Yes, yeah, a crustless quiche.
I was gonna make fun. Okay.
It's a frittata.
Frittata.
Yes, probably something more like a frittata.
It's a baked egg.
Yeah. Even though I don't bake it, but I might steam bake it, like with the lid on. Or I don't, and it's only been since The Bear came out, and my daughter, my now 17-year-old daughter, picked up on how the French make omelets, and they strain
to get more air through it.
No, they strain it to get a particular liquid.
Oh.
So that there's a when you crack an egg, there's often sort of like two parts, the yolk and the whites, but there's two kinds of whites.
Oh, okay.
And so the purpose of using that colander strainer is to strain out that other part of the white.
Oh.
Because that adds a different texture, and I think without it, it's more smooth.
Okay.
And that omelet in this omelet episode is
Silky smooth.
Yeah, silky smooth. And that's partly because 10, I think, tablespoons of butter and
it really was like half a stick of
strained.
butter
Sure.
for one omelet.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 egg omelet.
Very French.
So gorgeous.
Yeah. I make mine like Julia Child's.
Yes, that's right.
And she doesn't separate with the colander, but she whisks a lot. And then adds salt to give it a certain texture as she's whisking it.
Yeah, while you whisk.
I love it.
And do you do butter or olive oil?
Butter. Because of Julia.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to have the pan at a certain temp where it'll stick, even with the butter. If it's too cold, it'll stick to the pan.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Too cold.
Did you know this was a cooking show?
I know, right?
Yeah.
I always cook, if I'm going to cook an omelet in a more traditional way, it's usually very slow.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a certain temp.
Yeah. Below medium, for sure.
I do it below medium, but you can't do it right. Like you can't turn it on and put the egg in.
Oh, sure.
You have to let it heat
Your
up.
pan needs to be, evenly hot at the temp. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. All right. That's enough of our cooking shenanigans. I mean, we're amazing and we'll talk about it all day long. But it's not what the people are here for. I mean, they're here for the drink recipes.
Yeah, man, we're not here to bring culinary advice. But it is something that we do love and share and do for each other.
Yeah. So let's get into it. This one, we'll get into the omelet, the actual physical omelet, and that scene. But what I noticed in this episode really stands out is really more the dismissive avoidant classification, and how it shows up, how it's manifested. Manifested, is that the right word?
Sure. Incarnates, manifests, displayed behaviorally.
I like that. And two of the biggest dismissive avoidant that we've talked about are Carm and Sydney. So let's start with Carm. That was a really interesting scene where he is talking, or he's been tasked with starting and opening a restaurant, and all the ease of that. In the middle of starting and a budding relationship, or continuing on with a new relationship with Claire Bear, and then on top of that, just managing his own life and family, all at once. So doing these 3 big things all at once, and we see it all come together in this one scene where he gets a phone call from Claire, and it shows her very excited to talk to him. So, like, I'm kind of sad he's missing out on it. And then he's also being tasked with fixing the damn fridge door at the restaurant. Keeps being told, you got to fix it. Have you called? No. Crap.
He keeps failing to live up to his commitment to do it.
There we go.
There's another way of saying that too.
Yeah. I'm having a hard time finding my way into this.
Okay.
Do you want to pick up?
I don't know. I thought you were doing fine,
No,
but
am I
yeah.
doing fine?
So, because he had already been annoyed, Sydney was already quite annoyed that he had not completed this important task, because it affects particularly her and her staff and what she's responsible for. And Carmi is appropriately upset with himself that he's forgotten once again to attend to this. And it's been several episodes. I think it's probably 5 or 6 episodes that he keeps not attending to this.
Right.
And then he's also doubled down on with Sugar about if you followed up with fixing the refrigerator with Tommy. And there's some ribbing, some teasing, some annoyance, and also offering to take it off of his plate. But he says, no, I'll do it.
classic dismissive avoidant.
That's right. Not asking for help, not receiving the help that's been offered, not delegating, not making use of your resources, not collaborating with the other team members, but taking on in this independent, unnecessary way.
And I think it's partly because it lives in the dismissive avoidant as, if I don't follow through, no, I'm going to follow through. Because if I don't, it signifies I failed. I'm not enough. And so, no, I will do it.
As well as it signifies, or it represents the requirement that I have taken care of myself and my needs in order for my caregivers or my loved ones to be available to be in relationship with me.
To be available, accessible.
Yep. So the more that I'm independently not having my own needs and avoiding my own needs and dismissing their importance, the more likely my caretakers and my loved ones will be available for a relationship.
There's a lot at stake there. When on the surface, it just looks like just ask for help.
Or just call the dude. Just call the guy. Yeah. Call Tony. And so the scene picks up with Carmi beginning to call the refrigerator guy.
So
and following through. And in comes right at that moment an incoming call from beloved Claire Bear.
Yeah. And what I love about that scene is, and we've talked about this before, the view of the dismissive avoidant can be very much judgmental of, they don't care, they don't have feelings, they can't express emotion, show emotion, or they're not in touch with themselves or others. And this scene shows it really clearly that it's not just this aloofness that exists. It's not I don't care. You see him struggle deeply with being paralyzed almost.
Yep. With competing needs, competing desires,
right?
Competing responsibilities, and unable to ask anyone for help on how to resolve this dilemma.
Right.
Including answering the phone and say, "Hey, Claire Bear, I can't talk right now.
It's not a good time.
I love you. Can't wait to see you. And I need to call the refrigerator because I keep fucking up. I keep not calling him. I keep failing. And I need your reassurance that I'm not a bad person, or I can do this, or
which she would so gladly give him.
Absolutely.
And has given.
Yeah. And that's a nod to the opening scenes of them in bed, enjoying one another thoroughly.
Yeah. You particularly thought that was a very spicy scene.
Quite. I was taken aback for it. And Carmi is terrified, as he says later in the episode. He's just terrified.
Yes.
About how much he's falling in love, or how perfect Claire is. And this scene, as I think you're pointing out, so captures that a dismissively attached person is not unfeeling. In fact, they're often filled with terror. You're not going to readily know that, especially if you're not well attuned, especially if you're sort of in need of them. You might miss it because of your own needs.
Miss it, but also because they're dealing with it on their own.
And also internally, or off and away, out of view. Yeah. But attunement can still see that, can catch that.
Oh, my wife catches it all the time in me. Yeah.
Yes. But it's understandable that one would not see that terror. It's very understandable that another person's experience of someone like a dismissively attached Carmi would misunderstand that he seems uncaring.
One way I'll talk about that with my clients, like within partnerships, I'll say that it's often, to me, like a duck on water. It's going to look cool, calm, and collected up top. But if you underneath, those feet are moving 100 miles an hour.
Got it. Duck on water. I thought you were going to use the metaphor of
to shoot him. Are we duck hunting?
one in Texas. Oh, speaking of, we can talk about your
No.
okay. I thought you were going to use the metaphor about water on a duck's back.
Oh,
I was like, you have this all wrong.
no.
Oh, it's that metaphor. Yeah,
Mhm.
got it. Yes.
But yeah, and then so he's struggling. He wants to answer, doesn't know what to say though. Doesn't think he'll be able to respond, engage, and doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, can't resolve this.
Right. And is struggling with himself of he can't seem to follow through with, this is getting in the way. I think it's also a first time where we're seeing clearly where he's recognizing, this is literally stepping in the way of me trying to follow through with something. And it's not really, but that's what he's categorizing.
And that's how others are.
Conceptualizing it.
Yep. It's really more of a capacity. It's really an internal psychological mental capacity that he does not have. And it's easy to attribute it to Claire is a distraction, a girlfriend, romance, love it constitutes a divided attention rather than a both and
maybe very supportive. And
in fact, it might help me focus. Yeah.
yeah. And then he quickly gets interrupted by someone in need, another chef.
Yeah, I mean, Claire's phone call was an interruption.
Right.
And he gets a kind of interruption that is more relieving.
That he can actually attend to. He knows what to do. He knows how to respond. There's no question. He's enough in this moment.
Yep.
He's seen as the expert.
And because he doesn't really have a whole lot of need in this game.
Yeah.
With taste this. Like, yeah, that's easy. You're in need of my approval. You're in need of either doing the sauce all over again or whatever. Whereas
you're in need and there's no risk of me failing here.
Yep.
Yeah. No threat. So I thought that was a really interesting scene to show just the complexity of the dismissive avoidant.
Yes. And the emotionality that is often unseen and hidden.
Yes. We have feelings, damn it. Yeah. And so, but that moves us into the other, dismissive avoidant character that we've deemed at least, Sydney.
Yeah.
And all of her insecurities that are just coming to life and really they're showing.
Yeah. And she's kind of obsessing about them, it seems. She can't not think about them, or she can't shake loose of them.
Right.
Morning, afternoon, evening.
Yeah, she's waking up with acid, stomach acid, and goes straight for the Tums. And she keeps having these.
Excuse me.
How's that lemon doing?
Yes, I think the bubbly that got me. Okay. You know me and the bubbles.
Those bubbles are trouble. Yes, take 5. In her relational dynamics, the dismissive is shining through.
Yes.
It's coming out. And it starts in one of the first scenes is with her and her father. And dad is trying to...
He just is offering care.
He's attempting to attune and connect with her.
Yeah.
It's not landing. He has great intent.
Sure.
But her dismissiveness is blocking it.
Yeah, she makes it very difficult to attend to or connect with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dad is doing a great job.
I think so. Persistent
and just trying to reassure that you always have a space here. You have a safe place to land. There is a safety net. It doesn't have to always be so intense.
Yeah, you don't have to be so hard on yourself.
And she can't, like you mentioned, we were talking about it. That doesn't compute.
Yeah. She hears it. She seems to tries to make sense of it, but it just doesn't seem to make sense to her.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why do you think, She has a hard time grasping that concept. What's the risk of accepting the safety net, not being intense?
Yeah, well, I don't think of it as much of what's the risk as much as I do think of it as capacity. When I think about attachment and these classifications, that security of attachment tends to enable certain kinds of capacities, and it tends to be a rather balanced set of capacities, a flexible set of capacities, an optimal set of capacities.
So it's a capacity that can see all sides.
That's one of those capacities, yes. They can also emotionally regulate and co-regulate. They can collaborate and ask for help and know what they need and know who's equipped, so these capacities. And so in the set of insecurity classifications, in different ways, there are different compromises in capacities. And one of the compromised capacities in all of this insecure classifications is the capacity to recognize accurately security in its various forms. So when security is offered, it's nonsensical to the insecure mind, and therefore must be dealt with in whatever way these different classifications tend to deal with it.
Yeah.
And so I don't think of it as there's something that she has to risk, although I get that way of thinking. I see it more as I have a gluten intolerance. I do not have the capacity to digest gluten. I have a peanut allergy. I cannot, these are not me. I have zero allergies. And if I do, I ignore them because I don't have a body and I don't have needs. Let's review.
Dismiss.
And so it's a body that cannot digest. It cannot make sense of. It can't metabolize. It can't draw the nutrients from. It's what is insidious about the insecurity of attachment. And I think we should have copious amounts of compassion.
Right.
The understanding that when goodness is offered, like her father is offering, this support, this ease up on how hard you are on yourself. It doesn't have to be this way. Consider seeing it this way. Reassuring that you have a place. If this blows up, and what's the big deal? You get to stay here, and you warmly get to stay here, and supportively get to stay here. And it's just like I don't know, like a French loaf to someone with celiac. It's like, I can't process that. It doesn't make sense to my body. My body can't make sense of that.
It'll actually be uncomfortable and potentially hurt me, is the way it's seen.
That's right. That's how it's related to.
Yeah.
So the safe things are seen as unsafe. The unsafe things are often registered as safe. It affects capacities to perceive the world in different directions, given the different classifications. That's how I think of it.
So you hold it, yeah.
And it's not, it doesn't seem like a total lost cause with Sydney, but you do see the struggle of like, yeah, but, and no, but sure, and maybe, and
she's really unsteady.
Yeah.
About herself, about her future.
About whether or not the world is available to help.
And she's not, I almost fell into the trap there. She's not willing. It's not that she's not willing. She has a hard time asking for help.
Yes. It's understandable, that trap. It's understandable that others perceive her, experience her as unwilling. The trouble with that language
Grieving is arrogant.
Sure, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. The trouble I think as clinicians we have with that language is we see how easy the road leads to judgment, superiority, moral higher ground, a finger wagging, a shaming of someone for a capacity that they don't have. Shaming somebody with dyslexia and they're unable to spell hippopotamus. It's like, what?
With or without.
That's right. Like, I have Down syndrome. Why are you asking me to do calculus? Why are you shaming me? Or why are you mad? Or why are you saying that I'm not willing to try calculus? It's not within my capacity. That's the trouble with that language or that trap of, we're not willing to try.
Not willing. And so we see her next walking up to the bear, and it's almost like she's seeing the fresh coat of paint and the logo and symbol of the restaurant for the first time, right before she enters into the first day of the restaurant, or the opening, I guess.
Yeah, and she realizes she works at a serious restaurant, a real restaurant.
There's a big pause.
Yeah.
And you can see the worry just flush over her. And I, in my mind, it's imagining that she's afraid that she's going to fail again. Like, here we go. I'm just anticipating something's going to go wrong.
I think we even got glimpses of not just that she's fearing it, but she's even thinking it, almost envisioning it, planning for it.
Yeah. Well, and she's having flashbacks to her other restaurant time.
And her own failed restaurant.
Yeah.
Why she's living with her father and her messed up credit score.
Man. So she's carrying the weight and she's having a hard time asking for help. Yet what we find, and Carmi actually points this out when they're having a really touching moment, a very unguarded moment with one another, and they're sharing their inner worlds. It's kind of that idea we've talked about before, that vulnerability begets vulnerability, or security begets security. And Carmi was open and honest, and now opens the door for Sid to do the same. And she reveals Carmi was revealing that, oh, you're really good at taking care of other people. And that's what this whole episode was about, is that, well, that's the namesake of it. Yeah. The omelette.
Yeah.
And how in the middle of all of this, she stopped to take care of Sugar. In the middle of, like, it's so busy and so much pressure. Yeah. And she's like, no, I got you. I can make an omelet. And she didn't just make an omelet. She goes and makes this 5-star Michelin quality omelet with creativity and precision and beauty. Like, I mean, it's egg, but it was a gorgeous presentation.
And sour cream chips. Yeah. The ones with the rough ridges. And Sugar is partly why I'm tearing up, is responds with, I could cry. This is so good. Yeah. Right. Like, it's exactly what she needed. Sugar asked for what she needed. Sydney was so happy and so easily provided it.
And that's what Sid needed. She needed the affirmation.
Yeah. That
I'm worthy. I can do this.
I'm a member. I belong. You belong to me. I belong to you. I am my beloved. My beloved is mine.
And you could still see it didn't land in her. Like, she got really awkward and she was like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she wanted to stay and watch, and she was like, don't watch me eat. But she wanted to really delight in it together.
Yes. Which is, I think, what has been missing is, in the middle of all this chaos, it's hard for her to see the impact of delight people have and what she provides. And so she loses sight of, even in the midst of this chaos, I'm caring for others.
Yeah. There's one glimpse that I think we get it with her and Tina.
Okay. Yeah. Help me out.
There's just where she compliments Tina's that is beautiful.
Her fish cuts.
The fish cuts are gorgeous. And Tina just beams. And I mean, Tina's just having a great time of her life.
Yeah. Tina was delighted in. Her work was delighted in.
Yes. She's taken care of authentically.
Yeah.
That's one other spot. When she's making the omelet and that one interaction with Tina that I see
which is a deep contrast to, or a big contrast to one of your favorite scenes when Tina offers her something and she's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have time to fuck around.
Yeah, totally. Yes. That's
and
right.
This is a different engagement.
Yeah.
That is gorgeous.
That's right.
Yeah. There's meaning to it.
Yep.
So that was fun.
Yeah. But Sydney can't, she can't quite navigate Carmi's anxiety about mom being invited and the awkwardness around, I don't have a good relationship with my mom because she's dead and won't receive, please don't offer that. I'm sorry for your loss kind of, it's awkward. And I don't know that Carmi was going to offer it in such a beautiful way, but it was authentic. And again, it's hard for her to recognize.
Well, even then, I love, like you say, awkward. I have my own like identification with that, or projection that, I get, like my wife will say, like, why are you being awkward? From our standpoint, our conversation today, it's not necessarily that I'm awkward. I'm having a hard time with my capacity to receive, ingest, take in compliments, care,
being seen.
Yeah. That's
it doesn't necessarily feel good.
Yeah, no.
Right. Like that's why I use the analogy of celiac, right? Like it actually hurts to ingest this organic.
For me, I don't know what to do
NGO.
with it. I don't know how to process
That's
it.
right. That's right.
Like, does it need to come out of my fingers? Like, where? It's not going through digestion.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Where's it going to go through?
Yeah. I had a supervisor, mentor. She would talk about these cubby holes inside our souls, inside our minds. And if you don't have these cubby holes, then you can't receive it. There's no place for it to land and be stored in you. Or like there's no runway for this plane to land in you, or and that part of growing and healing is about creating these.
Yeah, they have to be built.
Yeah. And I think we see in Sydney this example of the reason why she can't receive is that there's no place for it to be received in, or there's no cubby hole for it.
Yeah, isn't that just sad?
Oh, it's tragic.
It wasn't built.
It wasn't built. It perhaps could have been built. The potential was there, but Sydney has a massive loss early in her life. Her mom dies when she's 4, and it wasn't sudden. It's lupus, so this is a chronic illness. So at age 3, she's probably quite ill and unable to attend to this toddler's needs, and at age 2, unable to
create cubbies.
That's right, or insufficient or partially built cubbies, or yeah.
Grieving. What other interactions with Sid came up? I'm trying to.
Nothing
that
else.
may have been all that really showed her. I mean, there another way in which we could say this too is being caught off guard by being asked out by Marcus.
Oh,
that
sure.
didn't have a place to land.
That's right.
I mean, she didn't know. She looked awkward, sounded awkward. It felt awkward.
Made it awkward.
But I don't know. if that's a strong line to attachment there, but
I think it's good in part also because we've thought about Marcus as more securely attached.
Mm-hmm.
And the number of fucks that they both say after that interaction.
Oh yeah.
Right, like Marcus is like, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And Sydney is just like, fuck. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's more intense.
I think ABC or CBS just canceled you because
Well, it's
you
Hulu
reached your number of
and
fucks. Disney.
Disney Plus. So how can they show it? But I don't know. And the way in which we get a peek into Sydney
Mm-hmm.
because of the filming and it's the artistry of it. But in general, I don't think we'd ever see how much Sydney was freaking out about that.
Mm-hmm.
Behind the curtain of dismissive attachment.
Well, you even see a sense of the security in Marcus, and when she stumbles and is like, it's weird, and he was like, weird?
Yeah.
I'm not all that weird for doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, that's right. This is not weird. The asking to go out to dinner afterwards or before is not weird.
Yeah, it may be uncomfortable, but it's not weird.
It's only weird if you make it weird.
Yeah, so I really, again, I think the episode really highlighted the dismissive folk here trying to work things out.
Yeah.
Trying to navigate life, and how that unresolved, how that the lack of cubbies within them makes doing these things difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Makes moving through successfully difficult. So with that, how could us dismissive folks, what is the hope we have? How can we move in a direction that moves us towards security?
Yeah, be it dismissive, avoidant, or anxious and entangled, or the fearful, anxious, disorganized, whatever classification. When you're in the insecure camp, one of the most important and perhaps primary things therapeutically that we need to do as clinicians is to, we call it often, build rapport, therapeutic rapport, build the connection. And the way in which attachment science talks about it is fostering a collaborative attitude, fostering collaborative perspectives, fostering collaborative behavior, because all insecure attachment classifications struggle with recognizing collaboration, being collaborative, being able to navigate the mutuality of our existence and our needs, the dance that is collaboration, the orchestration.
To seek understanding and knowing of my mind and your mind.
Yep, the taking turns, the pausing and resuming, and the trust.
Yeah.
And so I think we see lots of examples, and the trajectory of season 1 through season 2 has been moving from a chaotic, the antithesis of collaboration, competitiveness, undermining each other, jockeying for position, for resources, for identity or attention, with the instigation of the brigade, order, structure, roles, and then the beginning of appreciating each other's roles, valuing each other's roles, and showing respect for each other's roles, no matter what that role is. Everybody becomes chef, whether you're washing dishes, whether you're a sous, whether you're new to the organization, whether you're related, family, we're all chefs.
Right.
And that's this like collaborative tilt, this relational, collaborative, respectful, mutual tilt. And we see it in so many different ways when they're setting up the meeting with the the whole staff.
Whole staff.
Everybody seems to belong. People
Yeah.
feel like they have a role. There's pride.
Yeah. You can, that part, I got tearful and also just couldn't stop laughing, giggling, and just the amount of pride everyone had.
Yeah.
Like it was a beautiful thing to see.
Even if it was bizarre to each other, like what do you mean
Who
you're
says that? Who says luxuriation?
Also, because it's not a word, and also who quotes
Whoever that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. The quote, Richie's.
I think it comes from Hindu.
Oh, was that? Did you look it up?
No, but
Oh, you just know?
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I choose violence
I
today.
chose violence. I could be totally wrong. I just think that's what I thought it was. Anyways.
Listen better though. Either way, that's the moral.
The moral of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I think we see collaboration everywhere. Marcus and his desserts, so beautiful.
That part really touched you.
Absolutely. Because grief holds a special place in my professional life, theoretical life, personal life.
Mm-hmm.
I taught that course for many years.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Taught it probably 12 times.
Mm.
And Marcus just seems like he's the only one in this group that really can grieve well.
Mm.
And obviously, Avi, he's in the midst of a protracted grief with his own mother.
Protracted?
Yeah, prolonged, protracted.
Okay. That's just a big word that I don't commonly use. Like
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope I used it right
You're
too.
so smart. Let it seep in. Accept it. Change your capacity right now, Michael.
Build the damn cubbyhole. Where's IKEA when you need it? Yeah, so it touches me the way in which Marcus took Carmi's idea of a cannoli,
right,
but making it savory. And I think Sid collaborated in that development. And then Marcus executes it and notes that it's in gonna sneeze. It's in celebration of what the three of us did in creating this dessert. And all of his desserts have names. And this is the fourth of four that he introduces. And it's called the Michael.
The Michael. It's our dessert.
It's so built for us because it's a dessert, but it's also savory.
I don't like cannolis. I've never had a savory cannoli.
Oh, but you don't like sweet cannolis either.
But are they really sweet? Italian and French sweet are different.
Oh, entirely.
They're like bland sweet.
Are you telling me you were in Italy and you didn't have a single cannoli?
I did.
Okay.
We did. I took a bite. And you
still don't like
they're
it?
just crunchy cream. Cream with crunch around
May
it.
the Italian gods show grace upon this podcast.
Anyways, yeah. I've never had a savory cannoli, so
well, sure,
we'll see.
So, anyways, I just thought it was a beautiful way of mourning and grief, and that grief is a collaborative phenomenon. That you do it in community, and you participate in it.
Yeah,
yeah,
and you bring it up.
Yeah, you talk about it. You acknowledge it. Yeah. Unlike Sydney, who's like been in a relationship with Carmi this many years, and the two of them have never discussed that Sydney's mom is dead, died of lupus when she was 4. It's like, and the only time it's going to come up is when there is some potential chaos coming on the way, i.e., Sugar and Carmi's mom, Donna, is on her way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bring it up, you talk about it. In fact, you can actually have a really good time talking about, despite the chaos and tragedy of it all.
And partly what you see in the security of, I think, Marcus there too, is what you've mentioned, is the delight. Like his delight in sharing this, his delight in their feedback, but his delight in being able to talk about these things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's just flinging security around. So some other moments of collaboration that we've, one, obviously the Sydney and Sugar moment. That was a collaboration.
Oh, in terms of the omelet. Yeah.
The omelet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just meeting each other.
Yes.
Well, I guess more Sydney meeting Sugar.
Yeah, but it allows Sydney to meet herself.
That's true. Yeah.
Reconnect with her true, genuine self, which is capable and
I'm not going to fail this.
And quite skilled and quite excellent and quite trained and already tested and proven. She's so identified with the failure, which is not that it's not her. It's just not her in the way that she's so consumed and identified with it. And so it helps her reacquaint to a more whole part of herself.
Yeah. That's great. And one of the last parts is when Cousin, they're about to open up.
Oh yeah.
About to open the door and start. And Cousin invites, like it's Cousin, Sugar, and Carmi.
Yeah.
They're having a kind of a powwow and a one last breath.
Yes.
Before we start this thing.
And there's sort of a family dynamic there, even though Cousin is A, Polish and not Italian, and secondly, not family, chosen family and adopted family. But it's this inner circle.
Yeah.
It could have easily just been the three of them.
Could have been a really special moment between them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It still was. But then Richie, of all people.
I know, of all people, but but on the other hand, he is so fiercely collaborative.
Yeah.
I mean, like just the way that he can be, or he is so attentive.
He can be so attentive especially when he's not. These are just my words. When he's not in threat.
Yeah, that's right.
Because when he's been in competition or threat with Sid, he can't be collaborative.
He was undermining. He's competitive.
But I think what you're also pointing out is like in all these other relationships, like with his ex-wife, with his daughter,
and with Sugar
and Sugar,
yeah.
He's so sweet and attentive and caring,
and the arc has been turning toward that more and more, living out of that because he wears suits now.
He wears suits now, but when he gets that security, when he gets remnants of security, you see that arc move.
Yes,
I think that's true in all of us.
Yeah, that's right.
The cubby hole is starting to
be sturdy
form.
And be able to contain.
Yeah,
and from that he calls, "Hey, Sydney, join us. You're important. Yeah. This wouldn't be right without you." And then gives her the honor, the honorific of
let it rip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful too.
Another wonderful episode. Drenched and written for attachment.
I mean,
obviously.
Avi.
But it is like they really do such a great job, and it's fun to see attachment come out through art. So,
well, thank you for another lovely time.
Back at ya.
We've been a little tearful.
We have. We're sentimental today. Or maybe we have capacity.
Growing capacity.
I'm avoiding it. So,
thank you, Michael.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.